It is Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are. And it is just another episode of, well, actually, I was going to say that this was the R&B podcast, but it is a little bit different tonight. But what isn't different is the fact that we've always have a panel, and we normally have our good friends who would join in the chat to let us know that they're in. But I'll start off with you, Stevie. How have you been, sir?
Yeah, I've had a busy, eventful week. We're still in the middle of summer here in the UK, so I'm getting out as much as I can. Big mention to my new YouTube video, In Search of New Jack Swing, Volume 3 is up on my YouTube channel. Right, shameless plug, shameless plug. Do watch it,
It's
see
not a
what I
shameless plug.
discover. It's a good watch. It's a good watch this week. There's only me out there doing this,
Yeah,
running around trying to find stuff. So maybe some of you might follow. Get out in your towns and your cars, go around the record shops. You know, you might find things like this on cassette. Janet Jackson,
Oh
Control
my
on
God.
cassette
Wow.
for £1.50. That's about $2.
I'm
A
jealous.
cassette from 1986. That's insane. How do you find these things now? Yeah. So
yeah. Well, Stevie, tell people what's your YouTube channel, so they can, just in
it's
case they don't know.
at Stevie Street _.
Okay,
And I've
at Stevie
noticed
Street
I've had a
underscore.
few subscribers from here, so I really appreciate it. You know, I've had a few.
Yes, and so I told Stevie that a new episode should be in search of a cassette player, because there's one thing finding a cassette. God
Totally.
knows finding a CD player is hard, but finding a
Well,
cassette
listen,
player,
in this
that's a,
episode, I found a store that just sells cassettes only and old like analog cassette players. I couldn't believe it. A store that sells cassettes. So yeah, just watch it. It's great.
Definitely. Okay, well, we have to also introduce a well, I say a new face, somebody who has, over the past couple of weeks, has sort of has joined the Halftime Chat family, has been working, both doing her own stuff and also helping here. Miss Lane. So, do you want to introduce yourself and say a little bit about
Yeah,
yourself?
sure. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Lane. I am originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I currently am interning over the summer in LA. And I am just a young girl trapped in an older woman's body. I'm lost in the past, as you guys can tell. And yes, I love everything old school because it just feels like home to me. It feels real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine if we grew up loving Motown, I guess, or or
Mhm.
disco. I would imagine so.
Well,
So,
I'll tell you what. Now
uh,
you're thrown at the deep end here. 1987.
1987.
I
Yeah.
was 13. I was 13 at 1987. Mr. Dell Lane probably wasn't even born in 1987.
No,
So
I was
there you go.
three. Yeah. So,
93, yeah. Melodic, what's up? And Mac, Joseph Perry. No, I think one of the things, and for those, for one of those things, okay, you got Stone coming from TikTok on your channel a day. So I think one of the things, people need to know is that, for me personally, since I've been doing this, and back in 2020, I've always enjoyed sharing this platform with people who are passionate about music, celebrating the music, celebrating the artists. Um, and from Sheldon, Stevie, Miss J, I've got VJ, got Andrew, and Ade, who's here today. Everyone who comes on has the same love and passion for the music, and that's how it is. And so today is a very different format. Unlike, a majority of times we get an album and we really celebrate that album and go through it. As Stevie says, today is 1987. It is, it's going to be an interesting discussion around the music and the albums that came out in 87. The whether you know com- Whether the music changed in 87, who were the hot producers and dominated? What singles were there? How was the music different from pop rock, and how was it being consumed for us? So it's going to be a good discussion. But as always, guys, everyone watching, you please get involved, because as a community, it will make it such an amazing episode when everyone gets involved around the music of '87. Stevie said you were just you driving. You say how old? You said you were just what 20? Oh, so in '87, I can't
I
remember
was
what you said.
13, Namdi.
13. Okay, so you weren't buying.
I'll tell you what, though, I do
Okay.
remember. I didn't buy many albums that year because obviously at 13 you don't have any money. But I do remember what albums that I bought, and I do remember what got played that year, and it's going to shock you. So it's going to surprise you today.
Okay. I don't know. Did anyone watching, guys? Did anyone buy any? I think I was probably like you was 12, 13. I didn't buy music, and I didn't have any money, and I didn't have a place to play it. It was a family. My dad had a vinyl collection, and we did have a cassette player. And I would think, when I look at the albums that came out in '87, I think Michael Jackson's Bad. That was, everyone got a copy of that, because that was almost like, okay, he's got a new album. And I think I can remember the Whitney, but I can't remember buying anything. And also I do remember, and around '87, I was living in Nigeria at that time. I've looked at the hip hop artists then, people like Eric B. Rakim, LL Cool J, Kumo D, and I think there was it felt as if it was just music. It didn't feel so distinctive like hip hop. It felt like this was just music, and it was a different type of music. So the hip hop then, that's how we consumed it internationally. I don't know how it was for those in America. What about you, Steve? If you think about '87, did you think about Just Got Paid by Eric B. Rakim completely different from Jodie Watley's? What was Jodie Watley's track that she had? Looking for a New Love. Did you think that there were just two different types of sounds of music?
Again, Top of the Pops in the UK was still a thing. You tune into Top of the Pops on a Thursday night, and you tune in on a Sunday to listen to the top 40. So you were hearing like, and there weren't many rap records that got in them Top of the Pops. So hearing Eric B Paid in Full was, I still didn't quite get it back then, but I knew it was a hot single. Jodie Watley, I kind of got into a bit later on. But I'll be honest, that year for me was pop music. It was pop dance and R&B. And I do remember certain pop records that year that were huge. I didn't even understand the term R&B when I was 13. But I do remember on my birthday, for my birthday pocket money, £5.49, I bought Michael Jackson's Bad. Another album that I bought, because I remember I think I had like £10 in my pocket. And I bought a new pair of trainers, or sneakers, as you call them in America. And I remember going into this store and seeing on sale a pair of Adidas, and they were like lemon yellow coloured sneakers, and they were on sale for £5, and I couldn't understand why they were on sale for £5. And I also I bought these lemon trainers, not thinking, I'm going to get roasted for this. And I also, on the same day, I bought a copy of Alexander O'Neill, Hearsay, on vinyl.
Oh, wow.
So I get...
At 13 years old?
Yeah, 13, because it was being criticised, was all over the radio. So I'm going to school wearing these lemon Adidas trainers, and I got roasted. They're going, what are you wearing? What are those ridiculous sneakers? They did look a bit ridiculous. I think they might have been girls' trainers, and I'm thinking I got a bargain for £5. But I never wore them again after that. Well, I still had me Alexander O'Neill album, so I was happy. Yeah.
Okay, so then what's your? And I can't say your memories, but when you look back at '87, what did you make of the music that came out? I mean, and who stood out for? Who were the artists that stood out?
Do you know what the biggest record in the UK was that year? It was Rick Astley.
What was that?
Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. The Rick Rolling joke. That was the biggest record in '87. And, you know, you heard that everywhere. I love that record. You know, I still love it to this day.
Yeah.
Still one of my favourites. But it was pop. It was pop. It was dance, like them up-tempo Whitney tracks, like So Emotional. You know, you had like Robbie Neville, Donna Summer, you know, all these big, like, they kind of sailed in production, the way they went up and up in the melody and the chord changes. But that was '87 for me. It was like, you know, you got to remember the economy in the '80s just boomed in it, so everyone was on a kind of high, weren't there? Everyone was, by the mid to late '80s, the economy was booming, so the music reflected that as well. We had a lot of dance music going on, so it was a good time. It was take me back in a '87. Put me there, and I'll be very happy. I will. I'm telling you, I'll be really happy.
So, Dave, what about you? I know, as I said, you weren't around during that time, but when you've researched and you've seen the music and the artists, what comes to mind for you?
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me that I haven't seen like recently is the just overnumbering of rock bands, which I love that for 1987, and like groups that stick out is like Guns N' Roses, Starship, Heart, and just groups like that really brought Bon Jovi, that just really brought rock to the masses. That's one thing I love about the '80s itself, is the rock bands. Love that.
You know, and see, you've got people like Christopher talking about Phil Collins. You've got DZ talking about It Takes Two, rock bass, Boogie Down Productions. The thing is that, as I said, I'm coming from being in Nigeria at that time and being in boarding school, and we celebrated the music. So yes, we would listen to Bon Jovi. We would listen to It Takes Two. At the same time, we're listening to Atlantic Star. I mean, it was the music. George Michael singing Faith and all that stuff. It just, Rick Astley was massive, and it was the music that, and we had stations who generally internationally were playing just the music, and in a way, everything just seemed to be one. There wasn't as much separation, and even Rakim, as hard as he is, that Just Got Paid was like a pop rock record. Everyone could rap it because it was at an easy, steady pace. The words, we all could remember the words, and it was very short verse. So it culturally, now, as I said, those from the States, you may have a very different, comments around what it was like in '87. I was in Nigerian boarding school. Stevie was in the UK. And they was not even a thought. Her parents hadn't even met, so you can imagine that we're coming from it from three different angles. And so I'm looking at some of the comments. Fat Boys. That sounded. It felt, I won't say poppy, but it felt like a digestible. They're bringing out names, Time and Social Club, and all this stuff. These are artists that seemed. If you were white or European, you would listen to the music the same way, as everyone else was. It didn't feel like, in the '90s was pretty much, we had our segregated R&B, and we had our hip hop, and we had our alternative. We're thinking of, that was very much the mid '90s and stuff. But in the '80s, it felt like everybody, Elton John, it felt like everybody was just on the same level, making great music. Albums that stood out. Can you just think? I mean, we'll go for our favorites, but come on, some of the albums that stood out from '87. Do you have a couple that you can think of a day?
I would say Keith Sweat, of course, Make It Last Forever. George Michael, Faith. I love George Michael, and especially like with his departure from Wham and just coming into his own individual. What else? What's that? What's the one with the saxophone at the beginning? Careless Whisper.
Oh, Careless Whisper.
Yes.
Okay.
Levert, The Big Throwdown comes to my mind.
Okay. It's amazing with Levert, because if they came out in '87, Gerald Levert was still cool in the '90s as a R&B. I mean, he, coming out at eight. Because if you think of '87, people like Freddie Jackson were the kings of the charts. But by the time they got to the mid '90s, he didn't seem to. He didn't keep up with that. And someone like Levert or Keith Sweat, they were able to catch on and really become more mainstream in the mid '90s. But you're right. Stevie, any albums that come your way?
Towards the end of the '80s, that's when, like I say, I didn't know what R&B was until I had a life-changing moment when I had my radio, and I turned the dial. I turned it away from the top 40, and I was just flicking through, and I came across a DJ in Manchester called Mike Shaft, who was playing on Piccadilly Radio at the time in Manchester. And he had a show called Back in Business, and he would play all the latest soul records that were coming out. So when it was a Saturday night, just by chance, I turned the dial towards the end of '87, and I was just listening to this really upbeat, soulful R&B dance sound. I didn't know what it was, but I just thought, I'm liking what I'm hearing. So I just kept listening to it, and that was a life-changing moment for me, because I started going out buying records that I'd heard him play. And I didn't understand what I was listening. I just liked what I was hearing. So you could take it. I'm trying to think. I have wrote some of the albums down that I was hearing that year. There was a guy called Sherrick, and he had a single out at the time called Just Call. Now that was a big soul record. There's a guy called George Pace. He got a MCA. He went on to do 2 albums for MCA. He had an incredible. I was hearing it. I didn't know any of these artists. I just thought they were incredible. There's a guy called Walter Beasley, who was like a sax guy, and his album was big in the import shops at the time. There was Glenn Jones. There was Renee Moore. There was Tawaffa. She had an album out called Thyroid. I mean, some of you hardcore soul people will know who Tawaffa is. Miles J. Let's Start Love Over, a huge underground soul record at the time. And then you'd have the Jets, who were like a big pop R&B group at the time. They had an album out. And then going more into pop, Five Star released an album that year, Between the Lines. That was a big album in the UK. Vesta Williams came out with her debut album. Yes. Once Bitten, Twice Shy. That actually crossed over, that record. That did get in the charts. And then you had Ray Parker Jr. I Don't Think That Man Should Sleep Alone. You must remember that one.
Yeah. That I got into, a friend introduced me to Ray Parker Jr. and that particular track, and the way he sings, almost like he's chilled, relaxed, and I love that song for a long time. That was one of my sort of favorite rare grooves type of songs. There was I'm just going to go a list of some of the top songs that came out in '87. We had Millie Jackson, Love's a Dangerous Game. Gregory Abbott, I've Got the Feeling, It's Over.
I don't remember that one.
Denise Williams, Never Say Never. Yep. We had Melba Moore, who is she was going to be on the show soon.
That's incredible, mate.
It's been so long.
That's incredible. You got no
We had the Fat Boys and the Beach Boys. I remember this as a kid watching the video.
They were awful.
Do you remember that?
They were awful, them tracks. Awful.
That was big. I remember Prince, because he had the song called "You've Got the Look."
Oh yeah,
You've Got the Look. Yeah, so that was '87.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Eric B. and Rakim's "Paid in Full." Anita Baker, "No One in the World." So Anita was still ruling around that time. We had Sherrod Murdoch, "As We Lay." Yes, that was '87.
You got the Whispers on that list, Rocksteady.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, this is Oh, Deja, You and Me Tonight.
Love that song.
Big
yes.
track.
It's a big track. Yeah, Ella Cool J had I'm Bad. And I wonder who came out first with that. I'm Bad or Bad.
Mm.
You know, Michael Jackson and Ella. And I remember seeing them on the cover of Right On magazine or so, Black Beats. But it was, Bad meets Bad. We had Club Nouveau that were out. Oh, Glenn Jones. I look at Glenn Jones now. He doesn't look like he came out in the 80s. We've only just begun. The romance is not over. I don't know if you guys remember.
She's on the
that.
phone already, Namdi. CD, you get me.
I'm looking up. I'm looking up which bag came out first.
Hey, she's on the phone now.
Yeah. We've had. So he's changed his name from Terence D'Arby, but the artist formerly known as Terence D'Arby, he had. It was really big with Wishing Well and Sign Your Name. Stephanie Mills. Now, Stephanie Mills, I would say that Stephanie Mills was not as popular overseas as she was in the US. And so I didn't get... So Stephanie Mills, somebody like... Shanice, I Love Your Smile was massive worldwide. Who was the other young person who was very close to Johnny Gill?
Stacey Lattisaw?
Stacey Lattisaw. Yeah, she wasn't very popular outside of the US. So a lot of us I didn't know her. Surface Happy.
Mate,
yeah.
you just hold on, go back a couple of artists there, because you just mentioned an artist there that was touted as the new Michael Jackson at the time in this country. He was huge, mate. Let's not skip over that, how big Terence Trent D'Arby was in 87, 88. He was huge.
Yeah, no, so it's yes. Let me try. It was a mixture between Prince and Michael Jackson, and Trent.
Hey, have you heard? Have you heard that? You need to hear the debut album from Terence Trent D'Arby. Go on.
No, so he's now called.
It'll just blow your mind.
So he's now called
blow you away. You'll be like, "What is this?"
I'll listen to it.
He's now called Sanada, and his team that we're working on getting an interview. So it's important that I used an artist formerly known as Terence D'Arby.
That'd be amazing if you could get hold of him, mate.
Yeah,
he don't do interviews, does he?
Yeah, well, we started to follow each other on IG last week, and his team sent me a message about looking at some dates before he comes to the UK for his tour.
Wow!
But yes, Colin was right. He was definitely at the time. I remember watching him as a kid. I'm thinking this guy was probably going to be as big as them, but I think a lot of it was the industry and stuff. I'm just looking at some of the other Club Nouveau was because they had just come out after Timex Social Club. There was just so many. Alexander O'Neal, he didn't have the look as a star, but he was really popular, especially in Europe and around Africa as well. Alexander O'Neal.
I don't know about that, mate. He was on stage wearing that suit. Them ladies like the soul crooner back in the late 80s, mate.
He's singing critics. He said you're a fake. I mean, I'm like, oh goodness, this is a jam. I was a kid. You're a fake and don't criticize. He's shouting. So Teddy, I'll Be Sure Guy, they came out in 88. Force MDs, they did come out in 87.
Love Is a House was a big
Love Is a House. About Force MDs. Fun fact: my cousin's dad was in Force MDs, and if you see a picture of her, no, I'm not. If you see a picture of her, she passed away, but her daughter looks exactly like her grandpa. Like they look exactly alike. I have to show you a picture.
Wow. Your cousin's dad was in the Force MDs.
Yes, I can show you which one.
Right, well, you need to get on your phone now.
He passed away.
Oh, he passed away.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, were they brothers? I think. Yeah, they were brothers. Brothers and cousins. Okay. Cindy Luke. Lisa and Colt Jam, Head to Toe. Okay, the one in the middle, was he the
yeah,
oldest?
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Lisa and Cold Jam. Full force. I'm getting ready to get the interview with them, but also with Cold Jam, just about how, the whole night, the idea about Lisa and Cold Jam is that they had these songs, but they realized they weren't going to get. They still needed to get the pop markets, whether it's the Latino markets and the sort of pop market, and getting somebody like Lisa open the doors and making her the front of it. I think eventually it backfired because she became, oh, you're Lisa, even though she all she did was sing the songs. Unfortunately, it kind of alienated the guys, both Mike and as the who as Cold Jam, and it felt like she was the main person. And Melodic is talking about Fleetwood Mac, but as it was a time when music was just so interchangeable. Um, as I mentioned, Freddie Jackson. Goodness, I thought he was the biggest R&B star in the world back in the 80s. I mean, he was one. Where he always wore suits when he put in his videos.
You are my.
Yeah, you are my lady. Oh man, that was massive worldwide. Um, who else was big around that time? I think Keith Washington used to wear suits as well. I mean, that was what a change from where the men dressed up in the 90s to how they dressed up in the 80s.
Wasn't there
Luther
a
was still
Luther album out in '87? That album we stopped to love on it. Was that '87? Because the Freddie Jackson album was '88.
Yes.
That was 1988, the one you just said there. I'm sure there was a Luther album. I don't know, it was 88 or 87.
There was, because
It's a lot in 1988. Like, oh my goodness.
Oh, 87, you mean, right? Yeah, I mean, there was quite a lot. I'm not sure. I'm sure there was a Luther one. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, Melodic's talking about White
Because
Snake.
if that's the album in '80, I'm
know.
sure I bought the album in '87. I'm sure I did.
You were buying albums in '87. We had Salt-N-Pepa, Push It. Remember Salt-N-Pepa? They had that was it. But it's as I said, the systems don't disturb the groove.
Was that '87?
I didn't really hear that track. That was '87 when that single came out. I remember Club Nouveau's "Lean on Me." That was a big one in '87. Cameo, their album came out in '86, but a lot of their singles dominated the charts in '87. That Word Up album, a lot of the singles really started to dominate it in '87. One of my favorite was Joyce Sims, and I don't know if you guys remember Joyce Sims, Come Into My Life.
Mate.
It starts with a oh goodness. I mean, if I listen to that track now, it takes me back to high school. Well, not high school, boarding school, and we didn't have In Excess, Need You Tonight.
They were big. They were huge at the time. Huge again.
And this was the introduction of Whitney Houston. I mean, what did we think of Whitney Houston's "I Get So Emotional" and her debut album? Have you listened to her debut album?
Of course. I think it's pretty iconic. But at the time, it said that the Black audiences weren't too big on Whitney because they felt like she was too white, too pop. But eventually, of course, everybody came around. But I think, being that young with that big of a voice and then legendary, like your mom's Cece and then Sissy, and then, your cousin is Dionne Warwick, just coming from these big artists and herself. And man, I just miss her. She's so iconic. I love it though.
I don't know. I mean, I actually love those songs. Yeah. I just wanted I want to dance with somebody. I felt that they fit her. I mean, I wouldn't, if she had done just slow up R&B, I don't know if she would have, not even just as big, but I don't think she would have had the longevity that she had when she did come up with those big happy ballad songs. I mean, DJ Ole said about Top of the Pops was big. Sade, I don't know if Sade did they have Sweetest Taboo in the group? but 87 as well. It wasn't Whitney's debut album. What was her debut album then?
The
Her
debut
debut
album,
I don't know when her debut.
greatest love of all on it. That was the debut album, the brownish.
Okay.
But that Whitney Houston
Okay.
album,
So the.
that Whitney album was everywhere. You know, I just remember my first high school disco dance at the end of that year, and they played "I Want to Dance." I got on, had a little dance there with the ladies. You know what I mean? To Whitney Houston, a memory I'll never forget. Having your high school crush, listening to Rick Astley and Whitney and all them big pop records at the time. You know, kids don't have that these days. They just don't have that. Do they still have high school proms in America?
We have proms.
Is that still a thing?
We don't have
Still a
dances
thing?
though. Like no one dances. Like slow dances,
That's
that
a
doesn't
shame.
exist.
That's a shame. A shame.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are right. So Whitney's second album came out in June of '87. I Want to Dance with Somebody. Didn't We Almost Have It All? So Emotional. Where Did Broken's Hearts Go? Love Will Save the Day. I know him so well. I mean, I don't think I remember that. I think I only remembered the first 4 songs on that album. That
Do you know what my favorite track?
album,
my favorite track on that album was a cover. She did a cover version of "For the Love of You" on there, and that's my favorite track on it. The Isley Brothers, "For the Love of You." Oh, it's an amazing version.
Didn't we have it? Didn't we almost have it all? Is my favorite from that album.
That's a nice track.
Yeah. What did we make of? We actually, should we go? Let's talk about Prince's "Sign of the Times" album, because he came out the same time with Mike's "Bad" album, but I don't know if it's got the same type of love. I think Prince albums. What did we make of the "Sign of the Times" album? Have you?
I mean, at the time, I had friends in school. There's a friend in school who was a huge Prince fan, and looking back, I just wasn't into Prince at that time. It wasn't until the 90s that I got into Prince, when he went more R&B, but he was more pop rock. Sign of the Time, that period, I wasn't even. I'll be honest, I didn't even listen to it at the time. You know, and that's
Yeah.
It is a great album. It is a great album. That. It's a classic.
I remember you got the look was big. It came out in featuring Sheila Easton, so that was big. If I Was Your Girlfriend, I remember that, and Sign of the Times. But it only did 1 million, and the thing about the album, it came out in March of '87, and it was definitely overshadowed by. It was probably overshadowed by Michael's Bad album, which came out in when did that come out? It was released in August of '87, and yeah, and you know, it kind of dominated the market and stuff. And I think the problem with Prince is he came out an album in 85, he came out with this in '87, he came out with another album in '88. He just had so much music coming out, so it becomes hard to really keep track of him, and you're spending a lot on My Holy King says, yeah, Prince had a huge catalog. That really made it hard just to keep up with that.
Yes.
Who else comes to mind today?
Somebody mentioned Beverly Cole, "I Miss You Like Crazy." I love that song so much. But what did I put? Roger, "I Want to Be Your Man." They keep spamming that in the comments, but I just want to say about that song. I love that song. Like, oh my God. I love that song. I'm not sure if it was a single or a part of an album, because I know they had an album in 1988. This song came out in 1987.
Yeah, I wonder if because he did Zap, and he had Roger and Zap, and he was it was let me see, Roger and Zap albums, because they were just releasing so many stuff that it becomes it was hard to keep track of.
I mean,
Janet's album.
I was going to say, is a thing, Namdi. I can remember periods of 87 like it was yesterday, things that happened that year, memories, records that I bought. But you asked me to, you say, Steve, what do you remember about 2013 albums? I ain't got a clue, mate. I have not. Can you name me an album in 2013? I can't remember that year. It's crazy, isn't
it? Yeah.
Or 2014. I haven't got a clue. And I was still buying music in them years. But why can I remember 1987 like it was yesterday? But I can't remember 2013. Strange, man. That's weird. Lost years that just disappeared without trace, that you just don't remember.
Yeah. So Roger Troutman had a solo album in 87 called Unlimited. And on that track he had I Want to Be Your Man. So that was the lead single of his own solo album. And then after he went back to Zap, and he was interchanging between the two.
Well, listen, he was always with Zap. That was his band, Andy. He was always with Zap.
That was his band, but he would always go do his solo album in between. He did he did his solo albums in between going back to Zap.
And they had members of Zap family playing on them albums anyway, so it weren't much different really, just the name change.
Yeah. Janet came out in 86, but a lot of her songs
crossed over.
Crossed over into 87. I think the one thing that we hadn't spoken about, I know they mentioned it, was Make It Last Forever. Now, apart from Don't Stop Your Love, it was a change in music from what was coming out in 87. Because that New Jack Swing is when we got introduced to it with not just the Make It Last Forever song, but also I Wanna. It was very different than what we were hearing from other groups. It was hard, it was street, and it was you had the producer singing on the track or talking back on the track. And I know we had Roger using the voice box, but yet Teddy using it just in spurts and stuff on that album. And it seems almost a crying shame that Make It Last Forever came out in 87, because it feels like it should have come out in 88 with the Guy, Heartbreak, and Don't Be Cruel album and stuff. But it had a head start. It was very fortunate it had a head start. But Stevie, Kumo D, he came out in 87.
He did.
What did you make of his?
Was that the album with Go See the Doctor on it?
I'm just because
sure it's that album.
Kumo D, How You Like Me Now album.
Yeah, I did get a few years later. I don't remember it at the time though, but
you didn't get it.
What we could talk about is 87 was the start of New Jack Swing. I'm trying to think of what tracks did have a swing sound to it. Definitely Cool Mo D. You could put Tony Terry in there as well. Lovey Dovey. That was a massive single. That was very New Jack sounding. Cheese Fly. That was another big single of his. I'm trying to think of, I suppose Levert, Casanova was kind of swing feel to it.
Do you think Rocksteady had a swing to it or no?
Yeah, it did. The Force MDs. Again, you're hearing the very beginnings that year of New Jack. It weren't totally there yet, but we had Liftoff anyway that year. We definitely got Liftoff.
Yeah. Because How You Like Me Now was that was Teddy production. Wild Wild West was a Teddy production.
I think Rap's New Generation was 87 as well.
He's got no respect. But also there was the battle with at the time I was a big Kumo D fan compared to LL Cool J. But at 87, towards the latter part, there was a change in music. Now, yes, the Whispers had Rocksteady, which was, it felt like a throwback to the Leon Silvers type of stuff. It doesn't sound as LA and Babyface as, say, the Boys and the Mac Band, but it's they were still leaning on that 80 on the 80s type of sound. But you also had the deal, the only song that Babyface was ever allowed to sing, and as I said, allowed because they were like they said you join the band and you just write song, you just playing the instruments, and he was given the opportunity to write, and Dick Griffey heard the song, and forced him and made the group allow him to sing it, and that became their biggest hit. And after that, he says, "See ya, I'm leaving, I'm going solo." But yes, that was a sea change from there. Yeah. What else do we
Dirty
have
Dancing
there?
came out. The movie Dirty
Was that-
Dancing, the movie premiere.
Oh, the movie.
La Bamba premiere.
That was probably the biggest film of the year, Dirty. That was sure it's probably the biggest film of the year. That.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to see what the movies were.
Did you go to the cinema?
Got Hollywood Shuffle out. Robert Pattinson with Hollywood Shuffle.
Are you serious? That came out in the 80s? Okay. I'm
sure I went to see Rocky 4 in 8. I'm sure it was Rocky 4 87. I'm sure I do remember going to the cinema.
So we had the songs. I do remember Three Men and a Baby.
Yes.
That's 87.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Oh, yeah,
we had the original Fatal Attraction. The original Fatal Attraction in 87. Beverly Hills Cop 2 was 87. The Untouchables, that won the Academy Awards that year. Lethal Weapon, the first one, came out in 87. We talked about George Michael. Yeah, it was definitely
what a time to be alive.
Must be nice. Oh, the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys of Corey Haim.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Vampire.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, when we think about, and it feels as if there was still a lot of just a lot of funness around that time. Things weren't taken seriously. As I said, I was a kid, so I didn't really think much of it.
I think
looking at. Go ahead.
One of the craziest things that I saw that happen, a group member from the group called Motley Crue. So he had overdosed, but then he was pronounced dead. So they told everyone, that he died. But then he came back to life after they pumped adrenaline into him. He leaves the hospital, and then some fans pick him up from the hospital because they see him walking outside of the hospital. But he was fine. He didn't die.
Wow. I don't remember that.
Michael Ray II is talking about Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Maglin Hagler. So that's some boxing in there. But yeah, Untouchables movie. But if we look back at some of the songs of the year, I think the thing you could say is that there was a diversity of what we were listening to, meaning that I was listening to LL Cool J, Boogie Down Production. I think they had this. I don't know what year Self-Destruction song track was, but it felt like somebody like me who wasn't born and raised in the US, I could listen to Boogie Down Production or LL Cool J and stuff and hear what they were saying. In the 90s, I couldn't hear what artists were saying because of the styles of rapping. It was a lot more accessible, in my opinion, back in those early 80s. I mean, I Need a Girl was a big international hit, but at the same time, we didn't have issues with George Michael singing Faith and Careless Whispers and all those tracks. It didn't feel as if he was stealing. He was trying to be white or so. Now there was an issue when he won. He won the Soul Train Award or American Music Award. I think I can't remember what it was. Now the artist didn't say they had an issue when he got the award, which I don't know if he shouldn't have or not. but that was the main difference back then.
Yeah, he won. He won best R&B.
Yeah.
He won best R&B male, didn't he? You know,
Yeah.
and I understand because it was a pop album. It weren't an R&B album. But does anyone remember Mariah Carey and JD, a track called Sweetheart? Do you remember that track?
Yeah, I love that track. Yeah,
well,
that yeah.
The original to that came out in 1987, and it was by a lady called Rainy Davis. If you want to check out the original, sweet. It's a great dance track, brilliant dance. One Hit Wonder, Rainy Davis, came out in 87. Sweet.
Love a good One Hit Wonder, yes.
Yeah, really good track.
It is amazing.
Baby Be Mine. Mickey Howard, Baby Be Mine. Somebody said her.
Yes, I mean you've got. Let me see George's discography. Marco's saying that George Michael is an R&B star.
One More Try was really good from that year. My favorite, my dad's favorite. One More Try from that album of Faith, 1987.
Okay, let me see. He had I Want Your Sex. I can't remember that one. Faith was the big one. One More Try. Yeah, I don't know why he. Let me see. Billboard. So in the Grammys, he won Album of the Year, American Music Award. He won Favorite Soul and R&B Award in the American Music Award. That really, and he won Favorite Soul and R&B Artist, and then he also won Favorite Pop Rock Artist. So that did get a lot of people upset. Why is he dominating both charts and stuff like that? Yeah, so that wasn't an issue. That was a problem. But I think the album sold. I'm just trying to see now. Yeah, when the album sells over 25 million, they really want that was a big issue with there. You also had Monkey, yes. Stevie, you're a massive Jodie Watley fan. What did you make of 87 album?
It's one of my all-time favorite albums from. Well, it was probably that year. Just I played it to death, mate. I mean, the other, I'm kind of skipping over this, but the other female artist we're not talked about is Pebbles. I'm sure Pebbles' debut came out in 87.
Yes, she came out in 87.
Mercedes Boy there. You got Girlfriend. They were massive hits.
Yes. I know people aren't happy with the the TLC stuff and the MC Light stuff, but she definitely was as a singer, and also Mercedes Boy and Girlfriend.
There was a track on the album called Do Me Right, which produced by Charlie Wilson. Great track.
Okay.
Great track.
Yes. Do Me Right, Mercedes Boys, Love or Hate. She was, and it's amazing. She was. So Pebbles came out, and the album itself was released in November of 87.
Just right at the end.
It was released in November of 87, just at the end, but it made in 87. I'm just trying to find out when Shanice's album was released. And if you think about Shanice, pardon?
That's my middle name, Shanice.
Oh, Shanice. Okay, so Shanice's Discovery album came out in. It was released October 87, and what does she have in there? So she had, I Think I Love You, No Half Stepping, Baby Can You Dance, I'll Bet You Got Your Boyfriend.
A very different
The Way You
Shanice.
Love Me. I think
very different Shanice, that album.
She
didn't quite take off for her.
Kissing in the Rain.
Yeah. Do you know what happened? She didn't have Brian. She didn't have. She didn't have Nada Warner and Nada working with her. Yes. So I don't know what happened with that album. Where was her? I Love Your Smile.
That was 90.
What was that on?
Was it a single?
Was that 19?
I thought that was 90.
Oh, that was 91. Yeah. I didn't realize that. Okay. That was her follow-up album. Okay.
Our friend
Also,
Marco Crawford mentioned Perry, who were like they were gospel sisters. I think it was their second album that year, '87. I'm the One. Oh, that was a great album. That I haven't listened to that album for years. Perry actually backed Anita Baker. They were Anita Baker's backing singers.
yeah. Yes. So he's going to be a guest on Halftime Chat in a few very soon. Yeah. Okay. So I Smile was in 1991.
Mm.
Yes. If you were to think of a day, if you had 5 of your albums from that 87 that you've listened to that have come out in 87, so during your discovery of music and then looking back at when it was released, did you have 5 that from that era that you really appreciate?
Yes, I have my top 5 would be Whitney Houston with Whitney, Keith Sweat with Make It Last Forever, Michael Jackson, Bad. You can never go wrong with Michael Jackson. He's never. Bert, The Big Throwdown, and George Michael with Faith. Like me and my dad love One More Try. Like One More Try is, I love that song. But I also have like singles that I just love as well. Like
No, okay, we'll get to the singles. We'll get to the singles. What about you, Stevie? Did you think of 5 albums that came out in these 7?
We haven't mentioned the biggest female pop artist of the 80s, and it wasn't Whitney.
Madonna.
We haven't mentioned her yet. I think she had 2 albums out that year. One was a remix album called the Wanna Dance Remix, and also a soundtrack. I don't know if you can see that on my phone, or you can't see it. It's a shame.
Mm-mm.
Talking about Madonna released the Who's That Girl soundtrack.
Who's that girl? Who did I see?
Yeah, I remember buying the album and it just didn't come off my record player. You had Who's That Girl, Causing a Commotion. You had The Look of Love on it. You had Can't Stop, and then you had other artists like Club Novu, Step by Step. That was Squitty Politti were on there. I used to love Squitty Politti. So yeah, Madonna, that was in my top 5. Michael Jackson's Bad album, obviously, because I bought it on my birthday. Alexander O'Neal, Criticize. I've got Jodie Watley in there's debut album, which I just played from. That had George Michael on it. There's a George Michael and Jodie track on there. I've got the Pebbles album, and honourable mention at numbers. I've got the Jets album, Magic, which had Rocket to You on it. I Do You, Sending All My Love, and Cross My Broken Heart. 4 massive singles. So that's my top 5. Again, very pop,
I remember
very pop,
speaking,
very pop soulish.
Yeah, I remember speaking to Samuel from Club Nouveau, and he did remember Samuel, and he did remember.
I remember because I asked him, Namdi. I said, "Do you remember that track on the Madonna album?" He's like, "Yeah, I do."
Club Nouveau. Yeah. He talks about how they
deep with that question. He weren't prepared for that one, mate.
Yeah. I think for me, that Whitney album definitely, is one that I look back on. Hearsay, goodness, at the time, criticize and fake, and it just felt like, wow, how can you call somebody a fake? It just felt like it was like a strange song, but it was catching. So
What Can I Say to Make You Love Me? The Lovers, Sunshine, the whole album. That's
an amazing album.
Finish. No skips. There was no skips on that album. Chris Brown, talks about no skips. There's loads of skips on his album. Get Alexander O'Neal
out. Michael Jackson, of course, the Bad album.
Can play from start to finish. I can't. Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper, yes. Of course, my all-time favorite would definitely be the Make It Last Forever. Definitely. And but and yeah, looking back, I did also. Yeah, I'm just trying to see now. It's a cross between Kumo D's album and but also the I think Prince's Sound of the Times. I wasn't a big Jody fan at the time. I mean, I had two songs that I liked was of course Friends.
The Morning Jack one.
You know, definitely the one the remix.
Have you ever
with
listened to that
not
debut
Kelly.
album from her though, Namdi? Have you ever played it? Well, I'm
No,
gonna have to, all right,
no,
that's homework.
no.
We're gonna have to send it, you Namdi, because we'll have to review that album at some point. We'll have to review it, mate.
Joey Watley. Okay. Yeah. I was upset that she left Shalimar. And maybe that was the case.
I'm glad she left Shalimar, mate. Because we never would have. It's like if Bobby Brown didn't leave New Edition, we would never have got Don't Be Cruel. So for me, Jodie leaving, we'd never have got those first two. You know, the first three albums are amazing from Jodie Watley. You're just biased because you didn't get an interview with her, mate. That's all it's down to. That's all it's down to.
It might be the case. Yeah, I think so. I think she's the only one. I think she's probably the only one that I'm upset with that she's. And yeah. So I've been trying these people for 5 years, and when some of them I just like, yeah,
No, can't get them all.
It's not.
Can't
It's
get
not
them all, can we?
Definitely. What? So there were songs.
So what were your top five then?
Hold
on. So your top five was what? Alexander O'Neill, Cool Mode,
Whitney, Michael, George, and yeah, I ticked them out. Yeah, Alex, Keith, George, Michael, and Whitney. But I still had an honorable mention for Kumudi. Yes, I had an honorable mention for Kumudi. Yes.
Was the George Michael really that good?
Yes.
You think so?
I no. You know what? I still remember.
I want your sex. I remember that. I want your sex. Was it? Did it have Careless Whispers on the album?
I don't know.
I don't think it did. No, it didn't. It didn't have, but it was just more so the fact that it was just more so that he was it sounded accessible. It didn't sound, it's not like Rick Astley. Rick Astley sounded,
I do remember the Fake
Forever and Ever and Never Gonna Give You Up
with the guitar strum on it. I remember that one.
Yes, and that was the
what was
his debut album as well.
One more off it, weren't there? There was one more off it.
Are you thinking about One More Try or no?
Possibly. I don't know. I need to go back to the album.
Other Figure? No.
You know what? I'll have to buy it. I've probably got a lot more other George Michael albums apart from that one. So next time I'm out in a record shop, because I see it everywhere, I'll just grab a copy. I'll grab a copy and check it out.
Was Billy Ocean out in '87?
Yes, he had a song.
And it may be just because if you think, okay. Singles then. What are some of the singles that okay, everyone's talking about. What's some of the singles that you remember from that '87?
I have, since somebody brought it to my attention, that Baby Be Mine was a 1987 single. I'll Take That by Mickey Howard. Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. I like to think that song was written about me. Taylor Dane, Tell It to My Heart. Casanova, Right in the Wrong Way. One More Try. Didn't We Have It All? And
slow down here. You're missing a few. Come on.
Yeah, I
going
so very fast.
I missed them.
Take your time. Take your time because they're good songs.
Okay, I have Baby Be Mine, Mickey Howard, Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi, Casanova, Robert, Roger, I Want to Be Your Man, of course. And I have I Just Can't Stop Loving You. I hope I say her name right. Sadea Garrett, featuring Michael Jackson.
Oh, Michael Jackson and Saida Garrett. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Saida, yeah. She wrote Man in the Mirror.
What? She wrote
Yes,
him.
she
I thought
wrote it.
no. This whole time I thought Michael Jackson wrote that.
No, she wrote it. Yeah, she wrote it. Yeah,
What?
but she sings. She's part of. Yeah, she was Michael's. She sang. I think she wrote "I Can't Just Stop Loving You," but she sings in a video with Tim. So
Yeah.
she was Quincy. She was signed to Quincy.
Have you interviewed her?
She was signed to
Have
Quincy.
you interviewed her?
I've tried, but yeah. So yeah, I've reached. Yeah, so yeah, yeah. She's big time, but I've tried. Yeah, but it'll come. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going, though.
I have, of course, like you all mentioned, Never Gonna Give You Up. I have Heart Alone, Taylor Dane, Tell It to My Heart.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Tell
Oh
it
my
to my
gosh,
heart.
I forgot about her. How could I?
Oh, LL Cool J, I Need Love. I'll stop there.
Oh no, don't stop there. But that was. I mean, that was just like, oh goodness. And see, I was going to say his biggest singles. His singles that have really done well are when he raps over ballads. So he did it over he did the Michael Jackson cover with Boyz II Men. Hey love,
Yes.
hey love, you was more than him doing I Need Love. Was that?
Yes. Somebody mentioned Simply Red, Holding Back the Years. I don't know if that was 1987, but I have to find that album somewhere.
Yeah, those you see, and you Simply Red. Let me see. If you think about the everyone is talking about that came out in 86. That came out in 86. But if you start to think about, look at how everyone is bringing up a mixture of songs. No one's just saying, "Nah, man, just focus on the R&B." It's because that was a time when, as I said, the music was so interchangeable. I mean, I remember Elton John. When he sounded, when you think of some of the Elton John stuff, it could almost be mistaken for when Stevie did Part-Time Lover. And I can hear Part-Time Lover and Elton John, I Can't Stand It. They had the same type of vibe and energy and stuff like that. But they didn't seem, they could be played on either black or pop radio station, and still people wouldn't even tell the difference. It was just the vibe of music at that point in time. Steve, what's some of the standout songs for you from 87?
I've got my top 10 in, and I couldn't do a top 5. I got a top 10.
Okay. Go ahead.
It was a female duo in the UK, and sadly one of them's passed away. Kim Appleby and Mel. You had Mel and Kim, they were called. They had a big album.
Mel and Kim, yeah.
FLM, one of the people. Great dancers.
Oh, Stevie.
They look great. Okay. It was just a great pop dance record. One of the big albums that year in the UK, and for me, probably one of the best underrated pop songs of the 80s was by a group called Wet Wet Wet. They did a track called Wishing I Was Lucky, which again, go on YouTube and put in Wet 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 Wishing I Was Lucky. It's just such a great record. Another guy from the UK, he had a massive hit in 88 called Dreaming, but his first single was called I Won't Cry. And that was a guy called Glenn Goldsmith. And he was a bit of a one-hit wonder with Dreaming, but I always loved I Won't Cry as well. There was another pop group at the time that were huge in 87, 88 called Johnny H. Jazz. And they put out a single called Shattered Dreams, which just great song. Melissa Morgan, I had her track Good Love from her album. Good Love.
She's coming out with she's coming out with a new single in a few weeks' time, and then she's coming on Halftime Chat.
Good Love. And then I got Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Yeah,
then I got Jelly Bean, the DJ Jelly Bean who worked with Madonna. He had an album out featuring a bunch of artists, including Stephen Dante. And he put out a big dance single called The Real Thing, one of my favourites that year. Then there's Donna Summer, which is a guilty pleasure of mine, a track called Dinner with Gershwin. If you like the Whitney album, go and listen to Donna Summer, Dinner with Gershwin. Another great pop dance record. And finally, this record came out in 86, but it was still charting in 87. A guy called Robbie Neville and a track called C'est La Vie. Very R&B sounding, but it's a fantastic record, that. C'est La Vie, C'est La Vie, da, 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 da. It's my terrible thing, but yeah. In fact, next time I do karaoke, someone remind when I do karaoke, I'm going to sing that song. I've got to do that song, Robbie Neville. C'est La Vie.
Okay. Guys, Facts of Love, was that so? Okay, because Karen White came out in 88, so maybe that came out in 87. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was. It was the years 86, 87, that easily. Say love.
Facts of Love.
Do you remember Robbie Neville, Namdi? C'est La Vie?
No, I don't think I have.
Here's a tip for you, right? In the UK, they release these compilations called Now That's What I Call Music. And every year they'll release there is a Now That's What I Call 87, and it's got all the hits from that year on. And they do an extra as well, so you can buy 2 CDs of it, and they do every year, so you can remember. Because I did have a look at it before I came online, just at the track list, so I could, T'Pau, China in Your Hands, massive pop record. Just reminded me of all those pop records that were really big that year. Curiosity Killed the Cat. They were big then.
Okay. 87. October 87, Heavy D and the Boys, Living Large.
Yeah.
He had the Overweight Love in the House.
Period.
I must say, Dedicated. I really did like that one.
That was an early sounding swing track, that. Very swingy sounding.
So he sampled Kids at Work track, and he said he liked that one. He told Teddy to produce so Kids at Work was the group with Teddy Riley, Timmy Gatlin, and Corell Henderson.
How many groups is
when the album tanked? So that was he was like 15 or 16 when he was in that group. The same Gene Griffin that was managing them, he went to jail, so the group disbanded. But they came out the same time as Candy Girl and stuff. So that the original track for their slow jam was sampled, Dedicated. So that's what Teddy did that on that album. Stay dedicated. Oh, whoa. I love
You'll get used to Namdi.
So that was 87.
On the podcast. You'll get used to Namdi.
Mr. Big Stuff. Yeah. Money Out Earning Mount Vernon. So I think I like the fact that Teddy did most of the tracks on that debut album. So I've got some of my big tracks. I think Just Got Paid came out in. Oh, was that 87?
I'm sure it was 88, Namdi. Sure it was 88.
I think it was because I think it was just
1987.
Ooh.
It came in 87. No.
Maybe it crossed over in 88, though.
It says 1980.
Recorded in 87. It was recorded in 87, but it was released in 88.
Wow.
Let's Google.
So Secret Flight. So this says it was released in 88. And I would imagine so, because it would have been released after the Keith Sweat album, because it was supposed to be on Keith's album, but they didn't. They only could have 8 songs on there, and so Teddy gave it to Johnny afterwards. So it came out in 88. Okay, so let me some of my favorite songs from 87 that came out in 87. Atlantic Stars, Always.
I knew you'd pick that.
Goodness.
Oh.
It is such a
candle in the air moment, isn't it, Namdi? Get your candle out and wave it.
Wishing Well. I mean, that was such a so Cameo, even though the album came out in 86, the single started to be pushed more in 87, and Candy that's become a signature song for dance.
I don't remember that in '87. I remember Back and Forth, back and forth, but I don't remember Candy.
No,
Back and forth.
she's like, yeah, no. As a kid, that whole album was the videos with him word up and everything. It was seems
I remember
they
Word
were
Up.
larger than life back then. Yeah, but Candy, yeah, I remember the
Is
video
that
and
where
stuff.
Back and Forth?
The same album.
Is that where Aaliyah got it from, though? Like back,
Quite.
back
Not
and
quite,
forth.
but I can see where you're going.
I don't
Okay.
think so. Although Brian Alexander Morgan said that R. Kelly copied um, I'm so into you. Them I'm so into you. No. I'm so into you, and made back and forth. So I'm so into you, back and forth. There's a way he says that there's a way he took the stuff from there to make back and forth, and I'll make that clip up. Yeah, Cameo came out in '86, but the singles were on the radio on the charts in '87, so that was why. Whitney's "I Want to Dance with Somebody." I still, as a kid, I just remembered the whole video and the whole vibe. It was like, wow, this. She just seemed happy, it was just a good time seeing her. Slow down, loose ends. Oh goodness, loose ends.
Was that '87?
Maybe because
I'm sure that was '86, Namdi. What? Maybe across.
No, but a single. It's just It was the singles. I'm just thinking about the singles. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the singles.
Great record, such a great record that.
But when you see like Eugene Jane, who's I think she's at this time she's still still locked up in by ICE in California in the US. But she looked Black British. There's a look of Black British, and they look different compared to Americans. So to have our R&B British soul really cross over like that, after the success of Soul to Soul, it was really good. Rocksteady by the Whispers. I mean, I didn't realize they were an old group, but that song was just, the song was just so just kicking, and it's still timeless now. Salt-N-Pepa's Push It. That was such a, dun 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 dun. I mean, of course, the context of what they're singing. I think it's quite hard to listen to in front of your parents, but it was knocking. Alexander, I always remember as a kid listening to somebody singing that you're a fake. I didn't understand. How can you tell somebody she's a fake? And yeah, LL Cool J's "I Need Love," give it to him. Surface, Happy. Dude, I mean, that song was still. It's one of the songs. Yeah,
it's a great song though, but I think it was earlier than '87.
It's when it came out. I'm just looking at the charts. And we talked about Alexander Neal's criticized and cameos back and forth. I'm just a few other ones that really I liked. I did love the Glenn Jones. We've only just begun. The romance is not over, and he still does tours with that particular track. He can still go do shows with that. That's still selling. I can't remember Deja's "You and Me Tonight." Have you heard that song?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that year. It was on top of. They were on Top of the Pops.
Is that the GR production?
Yeah,
group?
yeah, it's the same duo.
They made Top of the Pops.
Yeah. Someone remind me of what they were called before Deja. What were they called before Deja? They were two different names. They changed the name, didn't they? I can't remember what they were called before Deja.
Okay. We had Shirley Murdoch, "As We Lay." Not that I understood what the song was about. Almost the same
Aura.
way as...
sorry, Nam. They were called Aura. Before they were called Deja, they were called Aura. And the South Soul Days.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the Ray Parker Jr.'s "I Don't Think Men Should Sleep Alone." At least not tonight. Oh, that was such a beautiful song. Yeah, Paid in Full. I don't know if anyone that didn't know how to do the Rakim rap, because it was such a story, and it was just so clear. Then it had the extended mix where it adds all this other stuff in there. Marco said it was Aura as well. Um, yeah, I think I'm just looking. I think those are some of the big ones for me that I do remember from '87. I think it was definitely as a kid. I didn't buy any music. Um, I can't. I did never owned any music at that point in time. I didn't buy music until 92, 91, 92
That
is
long.
when I got a.
What was the
Yeah,
first
that's when I
record
got
you
a.
ever bought then?
I bought 5 records at the same time. I got Dangerous, um, Revival, Tony's Revival album. I got TLC's Crazy, Ooh on the TLT tip. I got Peaceful Journey and En Vogue's Born to
What, all on
Sing.
CD?
Um,
All on,
all on the
and how much,
CD.
you
So
remember
my
how
dad
much you
got.
pay for that lot together? Can you remember?
It probably wasn't that much because of my because this was in 91, 90. I think it was December of 91 into 92, and my dad got a portable disc player, Sony disc player, and he used to get all these gifts, and he said, I have no idea what this is, so if you want it. And that's when I went into a local market. I was still in Nigeria and bought those 5 albums. And so that's what, if I see Born to Sing by En Vogue, if I see the Revival album or TLC, it just brings back those memories. And then Peaceful Journey, I played that so much. And then eventually I got the Motown Philly album, Boys to Men. So those bring memories when I listen to, especially that first album. I love the ballads on that. Um, and I remember, yeah, as I mentioned, I said the Dangerous album, but I just, yeah, and just
Mr.
those were the
Daylane,
first
I
couple of
see you've been
CDs.
buying records recently. What were some of your first records that you bought?
I think the first record I ever bought, I was in high school, and it was Janet Jackson's Control Pleasure Principle. It was
That's a
the
good
album.
start.
Yeah, it was my
Good
first
start.
one. We're little babies.
What, do you buy it on vinyl or CD?
I do both. I
All
do
right.
both. I do all three: cassette, CD, and I do vinyls.
So you went in the store and bought all 3 of them at the same time?
Oh wait. Do you mean do I buy
No,
just?
when you got the Janet Jackson record, did you get a
Oh
CD
no,
of it
those
or
were
vinyl?
vinyl. Those
You
were
got vinyl.
vinyls. Those were vinyl.
Interesting.
Wow. I also missed out Joyce Sims coming to
You
my
didn't. You
life.
mentioned that. You did mention it.
Oh, I did? Okay, yeah. So that was a big one. I think my holy king says the first album I
It was
bought
a bootleg.
was bootleg. Now,
It's a lot of bootlegs about.
as I said, I bought this back then. The CDs, it was hard to get a bootleg version of it. First record I bought, this is Michael saying that with my own money, was a cassette of House Party 2 soundtrack. Wow. Yeah, that I think I heard House Party 2 before I heard House Party, but I did get both of those albums. I did get both of those albums. Okay, so we're just wrapping up. Just more of an understanding of '87. Um, it just shows that '88 was a massive year. There was a massive transition. Not only did we see a lot of music from LA and Babyface, with the boys, with Bobby Brown, they had the Mac Band, they had Karen White. There was a lot of, they were really ramping up their production. We were introduced to Teddy when he did, no, we're not introduced to Teddy, but Teddy came hard with the Guy album, with the with Stuff on Albie Show, and on the Prerogative album, and he was doing a number of the GR productions, 88 into 89. Music was really shifting and getting a little bit different as well. But we'll cross 88 when we get there. But it was, but what I do remember about 87, just by going through this, is that there was so much crossover with music that, as you've just done a day, was the
I
fact
wasn't
that
born yet.
you can actually, yeah, she wasn't born in 88, 87. What you could do is that you've named more pop rock bands, and we looked at some of the movies that came out. There weren't that many. There weren't that many sort of black movies, because most of those black movies like Boomerang and all that stuff a House Party all came out in just like 1990, and the soundtracks reflect that. But in 87, Three Men and a Baby, some of those, Police Academy 4, some of those kind of silly kind of movies. I think Superman 3 was out in there. Oh, MWA in 87. Okay. I don't know, 87. I didn't realize that they came out in 87. But and if they did, the big track that came was Express Yourself. That was the big one. NWA.
Jesus, Straight Outta Compton was huge. Straight Outta Compton. RoboCop. Yeah.
RoboCop. I'm just trying to see.
Whoa, what film that was, RoboCop.
Yeah. So they came out with NWA Posse, and what is the song? Boys in the Hood. Ain't nothing but Boys in the Hood.
I'll never forget Eazy-E's rapping. What a rapper he was.
Yeah, RoboCop was violent, but I don't know. So I think one of the things you will miss is actually being around when these movies came out. It's like, but then again, we can watch a lot of things like It's a Wonderful Life and some of those old movies now and still feel attached to them. But back when we were kids, watching A Lethal Weapon, watching those type of movies, even though we were kids and shouldn't be watching them, no one seemed to care when you could watch those. Beverly Hills Cop 2, I mean, it was an R film, but it was Eddie Murphy, so it was okay to watch it. Yes. Anyway, so that was our. It was a difficult show for us to do because.
How difficult is it going to get when we do the year 2013, Namdi? Because I ain't got a clue, mate.
Well, that depends on the ratings to see if this pilot episode makes it back.
Yeah, if we get past 200 viewers, we'll see how it goes. You know what
I mean?
But yes,
pretty good comments.
Yeah, I know. As I said,
we have got a loyal on a Sunday. We've got a loyal viewership on us. We really appreciate, don't we, Namdi? They join us every Sunday.
Definitely.
They could be doing anything else, going on someone else's podcast, doing something, but they join us. I don't know why they join us. Us crazy bunch on a Sunday night.
Yes. So what you guys? So for the regulars, what is going to happen on Wednesday? So if you are a GR Production fan, so that was a lot of those tracks came out in 89. We're going to be looking at an underrated album by Zan. Zan, if anyone's like, who is Zan? Zan wrote for Basic Black.
Special Kind of Fool.
What is Special Kind of Fool? So if you think so he wrote Special Kind of Fool.
And he also had a track on the House Party soundtrack. He had a track on the first House Party soundtrack.
Which one was that?
You know what? I can't remember. We'll discuss it on Wednesday. It was the last track.
And Zan also
last track on the House Party album.
Them?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's House Party. So that was the.
My gosh!
So he did a song called "Special Kind of Fool."
Adele has not heard the Basic Black album, Namdi.
I know a song. I'm looking for the song that I know. It's probably Love Thing. I think I know.
No, that's intro. Oh. That's intro.
Yeah, right, I would say if you
one of their 1980
is Special Kind of Fool is 1990.
No,
No, I know intro. It says one of their singles is 1988, Love Thing / Try Me. Is
Who?
this
Basic
not
Black?
Yeah.
But you're talking to Chat GPT there. Go to
Oh,
AI now.
it's the website.
What website's that?
No, I know Nothing But a Party. That's what I.
Yes.
Nothing But a
Yes,
Party.
nothing but a party.
That's what it
We
is.
got there
Nothing
in
but
the
a
end.
party.
We
So
got there in the end.
Yeah, it just
yes,
took a while.
that's to me that's the I think that's my favorite New
And
Jack
we've not
Swing
done it yet.
album.
We've not
Is the
done.
Basic Black.
I've just thought we've not done Basic Black album. We've not done Bobby Brown yet. Don't Be Cruel. We've not done Timmy Gatlin's album. So we're starting on Wednesday. We're going to get into the GR Productions of Zan. Then we could follow that on with Timmy Gatlin, with Deja, with Starpoint, with Basic Black. That's a GR, you could argue. No, minus Teddy in it. There's plenty of albums, hardcore swing albums. We're going to have a go at.
Yeah.
We're going to have a go.
So that won't be on. Those will be midweek because I think next weekend will be Battle of Producers Part 3 with Devontae Swing, Dallas Austin, and Jermaine Dupri. So Battle of the Producers with those 3 producers. So that's next week. But
yeah, we will get Adele Lane on again on the podcast before, because these other rivals try to take her away from us at the moment. There's always other rivals, R&B things. Well, don't worry, we'll be getting her back on at some point.
So you're going to be at a concert next weekend. Can you say a little bit about that? Something?
Next weekend I'll be downtown LA covering the 2000s concert. Bobby V will be there. Mario. So anything 2000s, they'll be there. Hopefully I can get an interview from these artists. And then that following week, August 9th, the 90s. And Shy will be there. Blackstreet. Tweet will be there, which is amazing. We've never seen her concert. So yeah, hopefully we get a inside scoop on the artist.
Yeah, Tweet just signed with SRG Records.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, she just had one hit, so I don't know. I mean, normally, I don't know if it was if it was the singing or was it the Timbaland and Missy production that made the track. So I wonder what I wonder what she presented to them that they said, yeah, we can do an album. Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so that's sweet. So we will yeah, look, it's a tough one with me and the guys from
Fake Blacks.
I always believe I'm friends with everybody, and I love the guys. So
well, you got Fake Black. You got the A team and the B team, haven't you? You got 2 teams there for Blackstreet.
You've got Teddy.
You could have 3. And how many members all? Has there been 12 members altogether? 4, 8, 12. You could have 3 groups.
Yeah. Anyway, so it is. Yeah. I the battles I just will never go through because I love them all. So I love them all. So guys, it is. This is a pilot episode. It would be great for you guys to let us know how it was, because we did something we hadn't done before, and that is just say, let's just look at albums of 87 and just go through them. It was a little bit more difficult than I anticipated. Maybe 88, 89, 90s, probably a lot easier. I'm always thinking about 94 or 90.
You give us some major homework.
Huh?
You give us some major. Yeah, I hope there's a check in the post for this, mate. I really do. Amount of time for me to compile this information.
Because it's funny, because I think about like the 90s, it was easy to look at, say, 92, 91, 94 and think, especially 94, 95, and think of the albums that came out. I think the 80s was okay, Michael, thanks for lots.
Yeah.
I mean, the 80s, 87 felt difficult. It felt very difficult to try and bridge, and we went, where we were. So we may revamp it, and that's what a pilot is. You come out there, and we may look at a year, start of the year that actually feels a lot more common to the rest of us, a lot more.
Well, 88.
I've lost the word, but
88, 89, 90, all these years come past them should, because we're all going New Jack then. So it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think it'll get,
there's a.
once we get past, say, I don't know, if we went as far as 2002, after that, then it gets difficult again. Because I just don't remember that. I don't remember them.
Well, today's coming out. I actually appreciate the fact, guys, let us know about what you felt about today. Because as I said, it was, as a pilot, and I did tell Ade and Stephen, like, this is a pilot. I have no idea how it's going to go. And I'm hoping for the best. But, it was tough. Timmy said, Teddy said 84 would have been easier. What do you say?
So Mason's late. He's saying hello. He's late.
Well, here's a stat for you, Namdi. Remember that London Jones album podcast we did? You thought that I picked that would get any viewers. That has actually done more views than Janet Jackson's Janet album. I was about that then, mate. It's done more views than that Janet album. So we'll see, mate. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, how did you find it today? Because this is your first time on us live, but also you picked up.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. It was just different because, like, there are things that I just don't know because I wasn't there. But also, like, some stuff can be wrong on which is like kind of hard because when it comes to the internet, some years might be different than how people, remember it. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I think I did a lot of research with like news, entertainment, music.
Well, give us some of the news, because give us some of the news of 87.
So, in the year of
1987, give us some of the news of it. Yeah,
the Beatles released their first CD. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scores his 36,000th NBA point. And I know a super huge story. I'm wondering if this was big in like the UK, but there was a baby that fell down a well in her aunt's backyard in Midland, Texas. And it was this huge thing for like 58 hours. Was that big in the UK or no?
Don't remember.
It was like her baby Jessica? No?
Wow. Don't remember that.
No. Does anyone remember Baby Jessica from 87?
Super big.
Okay.
It was super big. Super big, Namdi.
It might have been big in Texas. I'm just seeing if anyone remembers Baby Jessica from 87.
Rescued.
Yeah, it wasn't international big, so that's probably. Yeah, it wasn't internationally big, so. Yeah, okay. M Max says he remembers Baby Jessica. Okay. I was wondering if anyone else remembers. Anyone remembers?
That's another. The Simpsons debuted in 1987.
Oh goodness! Can you imagine that?
Wow. The Teenage Turtles also debuted.
Baseline G remembers Baby Jessica. Okay. And Ziki said he heard about it. Okay. Any big movies from 87 that
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they came out in 1987. Dirty Dancing, Adventures in Babysitting, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Jaws: The Revenge, Harry and the Hendersons, the big creature, brown creature who gets a.
Okay.
But yeah, Baby Jessica. Yeah.
Okay, so a few people remember that. I think if you ask me to remember, if you name movies like Three Men and a Baby, and I probably didn't watch it when it came out, but Baseline G said the Giants won the Super Bowl. But I did remember Moonwalker, but that came out in 88. That was massive.
88 was
I think 80. I remember Moonwalker, and 88 was the big New Jack Swing revival and stuff. I remember Karen White's Superwoman video. I just remembered her talking about cooking breakfast. I'm thinking, what? I'd never heard a song just tell you early in the morning, I wake up, put your breakfast. And I could visualize, I could taste the eggs. I could tell you, I can taste the eggs anytime I hear that.
Yeah.
There was a video show called Casey Kasem. He was the original voice of Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. And he was a DJ. But his top 20 video countdown show, and people might remember Casey Kasem. In Nigeria, we used to watch. It used to be big just to watch, and I'm just there because we would hear the songs on the radio, but to see the videos was almost like madness. Just like wow, just to see that they had videos and stuff. And I remember going to house parties and hearing Someone for Me, or Off on Our Own Girl, or Rescue Me. Just seeing those videos, it just felt like a miles away. So yeah. But okay, put on the hits as well.
Aretha Franklin becomes the first Black woman / female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, one of us did our homework more than the others. Stevie's always trusted to do his music homework.
Yeah, I brought the pop music tonight. That's what I brought, the pop music.
Well, they brought. Lean on Me, 87. I don't know if I remember. I remember watching it, but I don't know if it impacted me. Yeah, a Hollywood Shuffle. I don't think I saw it in 87. I probably saw it later.
1989 was Lean on Me. It wasn't 87.
Oh, and then it was Lean on Me. Okay, you've done your homework. Okay, guys. So as I said, this was our pilot episode. We appreciate everyone. We will tidy things up a lot better for 88. Of course, definitely. I would hope that when we do 88, you guys could have your songs and the albums out and ranked. But in between that, guys, we always appreciate you guys joining us and being part of the crew. As I said, Karate Kid. We will tweak a few things up and be ready for next week. But for me, I'll say good night, Stevie.
I wish you all a great 1987. Good night. See you in 2013.
Day, what about you?
Have a great day. Keep the music alive. Can't wait for 1988. Oh my gosh.
Okay. See you guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between us,
for even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
she's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you.